Welcome to the Dissent Agenda. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Cody. We're just two loudmouths with Wi-Fi, a mic, and zero tolerance for bad politics.
Every week, we dig through the dumpster fire that is national politics, so you don't have to. From clown car congressional hearings to billionaires cosplaying as patriots, we call it out and call it what it is.
Then we bring it home, literally. Stick around for our Locals Only segment where we spill the tea about what's going on right here in Virginia Beach.
Because what happens in Washington doesn't stay in Washington. It shows up at our school board, our city council, and on our grocery bill. This is the Dissent Agenda. Let's get into it. Well, welcome back, everybody.
Yeah.
Hi, Cody.
Hi, Melissa. It's been a couple weeks.
Sorry to our listeners and viewers for our inconsistency, because we decided to start a podcast in like August and right in the middle of election season. And I definitely was managing a campaign. And so I have
Things get busy when you get to the beginning of November, late October.
Basically, yeah, pretty much like October. I mean, yeah. So I miss you. And now we're here together again. And we're going to be more consistent to our viewers so we can talk, because listen, y'all, we have elections every single year in Virginia.
And there's so much happening. I feel like it's hard to even talk about all of it.
It is,
in
yeah.
an episode.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And then it changes at like such a rapid pace. But let's talk about the big win on November 4th.
Big win for the state of Virginia.
Big win for the state of Virginia. Picked up 13 seats. We have 64 seats.
Yeah, overwhelming majority in the House of Delegates.
Yes, it's
right
like
now.
Almost a supermajority. I believe 66 would be a supermajority.
Yeah, that would be a full 2/3.
Yep. So we are almost at a supermajority in the House of Delegates. We are a normal majority, 51, 49,
majority
in the Senate. And that, which the Senate wasn't up for election anyways, but it was all of the House delegates and Abigail Spanberger,
the governor's seat, first woman governor of the state of Virginia.
Yep. First Islamic woman
as
a governor or
governor?
like a lieutenant governor. I mean, as like a senior executive level at our in our government. And then Jay Jones was able to beat out Miaris, which that was a real nail biter. We
won by a decent amount.
And he still won by a decent amount. He did not win Virginia Beach, of course, but that's to be expected. Jason's from Virginia Beach. He lives here. So, and so we got the trifecta, which I had already suspected, like we were going to get the trifecta. I mean, just, you could feel the energy, especially post, Trump second term election. And so, but Abigail, I mean, she's a centrist.
But will also, at least some things will get done.
Correct. Yes.
Because, it was a historic election, if you will.
It was, yeah.
But the previous governor also, or the still soon to be previous governor, Youngkin, also, made history as being the governor that vetoed the most bills.
He did.
In the history of Virginia governors. I think he actually vetoed more bills this year than any other Virginia governor did in their entire term.
He legitimately has like the record of vetoes.
400 something.
Yeah,
like
it's insane.
There was 150 something this year, and I think before them the whole record for entire term was like 120.
Yeah. So he so just this 1 year,
no other governor in the history of Virginia has stood in the way
of legislation. That's a record. And if he's going to do a Senate run, then I guess that's what we can expect for him as a senator if he were to be elected, which he won't. But because at this point in Virginia on statewide, I'm not sure that Virginia will ever, on a statewide, ever elect. Except for Congress, but like because Senate, you only have 2 seats. So it's a Senate and there's only 2 seats. I don't know that Virginia will ever have anything but a Democratic senator at this point. And certainly, right now for the next 4 years, at least we have the entire top of the ticket. But yeah, he definitely stood in the way of a lot of things, and including our city charter. And guess what passed?
The 10-1 voting.
Listen.
Yes, on 10-1.
I guess I just the excitement of Abigail winning just really fell kind of flat on me because I was managing Cat Porterfield's campaign, and we tried really hard, but we made improvements at like literally almost every single precinct except for 4. And Cat flipped 2 precincts to more. She only won 4 precincts the previous election. She won 6 this time. And so she did well, but she didn't win. And so there was that like disappointment, right? Especially with all the other winning that was going on, right? And I already kind of knew we were going to take the ticket on a trifecta at the top. And so I guess I just and I was so personally motivated by the 10-1. Very much, I've been following that since 2021. I feel very vested. I've been at the General Assembly about that. Like I feel very vested in that. And so for us to win and to win by 10,000 votes was huge. Now,
especially considering how much money went in
to the no. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I was like, it's going to be a 61%. And then it ended up being 53. But I was totally being optimistic. And, just the no campaign, while they had a very robust campaign that was fully funded and literally everywhere, just goes to show you, like, you can treat your voters like they're stupid, but they're not. I mean, that's
what the whole
that's
campaign felt like.
It felt like condescending and like you're using this very simple language. And while we know
very
it
much
works,
don't be stupid.
Yeah. Yes. And I think that really like worked against them. And the hubris. I mean, their hubris. It was just people, they're like, I think you're doing something. I don't trust it. And I've been telling people that. I'm like, look, I know y'all are super worried. And I'm sure there are people like, Melissa, you're overconfident that it's going to win. Okay, well, it won. But I knew I talked to voters. I was working early voting a lot. I heard what some people were saying. Like, I mean, there were voters who were like, I knew that if they were trying so hard to tell me no, that I needed to vote yes. And I don't even know why, but I just know
felt like a scam.
It felt like a scam, right? It felt like a scam. And so, I'm so thankful. Now it's not over because, the no campaign came out right away and was like, well, it's Supreme
we don't
Court.
Believe it. Now they want to see what the court has to say.
Now they want to wait for the Supreme Court because of the basis of the Voting Rights Act Section 2. And
before it was all about how the court shouldn't be telling us what to do, etc. Now it's all about, well, let's see what the court has to say about it.
Such a valid point, Cody, right? Wow. Yeah. They didn't find the court decision at a federal level. So they were like, we just need to push it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to stick. There is going to be a vote next week at City Council. If you are a strong supporter of yes, I would encourage you to drop a line to, I believe it's citycouncil@vbgov.com. Yes. And that will send a message to all city council members, and you can say that you are in support. I will follow my socials, y'all. I will be sending out a little thing. And basically just to send them an email and say, all of the council, and say, I am in support of adding this to the legislative agenda, the resolution to support 10-1 to the legislative agenda.
I mean, at this point, how, and I know how, because we're not always dealing with honest,
of course, right,
people of integrity. But how do you, at this point, after pushing so hard to be like for the referendum, we have to know what the people want, and that's all we want to know. I mean, that was the argument when we did the referendum, was the people deserve to vote, and we respect the people's vote. That's what's most important, is what the people want. And so there better be 11 yes votes on city council. We know there won't be, but there should be.
I'm hearing the grumblings I'm hearing is that the 3 no votes are going to be Cummings.
Of course.
Right. Yeah. So it's going to be Cummings, Henley, and Wilson. I mean, Cummings, hello. He invested. You know how fucking mad that dude probably was on election night?
Oh, yeah.
Like, not like Cummings is a Trumper. And I mean, first of all, like Cummings
is one of the first times he hasn't been able to buy what he wants.
Yeah, baby. That's right. So you're right. And I would love to have been a fly on the wall in his house. Cause like not only did you get fucking smacked like at the top of the ticket as a Republican, right? Um, but like and Cummings is so condescending, the way he talks to people, the way he carries himself, like he thinks he thinks he's gonna be mayor one day, which I have news. I don't believe in hell, but if there is one, it will fucking freeze over before Stacey Cummings is ever a mayor in this city. Because he's just not a nice person. And you can tell. I don't need to spend a lot of time or have a lot of conversations with that man. I'm sure his family thinks he's a great guy and all these
things. People that think he's a nice person.
I'm sure there are people, right? But like you can just he's condescending. He thinks he knows everything. He thinks he's the smartest person in the room and he's fucking not, right? You're a fucking car salesman, bro. Like, so and money can teach you anything.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, there's a very large attachment to the perspective that if somebody somehow has or has gathered a lot of money,
that they must be smart.
That's a virtue. They must be smart. They must be a good decision maker. They must
work hard.
They must be a hard worker. All of those things.
And the reality is the more money you make, the less you actually have to work. And frankly, I'm just going to put myself out here on this. That's talking about myself. I have a business. My husband and I own a business. We worked very hard in our business. We made a lot of sacrifices early on in our business. And the reason why I have all the time on my hands to be a political menace is because we own a business and because we make enough money for me to not have to actively participate in my business any longer. And so really, frankly, the more money you make, the more time you have. And so I don't, and now I'm not saying that, I mean, I definitely have worked hard and I definitely have made sacrifices, right? As a business owner. But I don't find that, I mean, everybody works hard. Everybody works hard. So
everybody gets presented with different opportunities and challenges in their life. That's and everybody, makes good decisions and bad decisions at different times.
And I've certainly made bad ones.
And everybody's really just trying to ride their ride.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, so Stacey was probably big mad because he wrote a $10,000 check out of his own account. Now, listen, that
it probably didn't bother him that much.
Yeah, it probably didn't. I mean, $10,000 to him is probably like $10 to you and I. Right, like in a relational,
like
you know what I mean? Like probably
it's not
whatever
something he noticed go away. There wasn't. It wasn't a sacrifice.
That's
I mean,
exactly right.
It's a big number to most of us that don't have just $10,000 laying around, or couldn't just write a check for $10,000 and not think of all the other things.
And like Kat said something. She said her dad always told her, "I'm gonna fuck this up," but it was like, if you can write a check for $10,000 and it doesn't impact you at all, you're a Republican. And I was like, oh shit, that's so fucking true, right? Not to say that there aren't wealthy Democrats, but because we know they are, but really, are they Democrats? Anyways,
I mean, and that's the big topic of conversation right now is what is the Democratic Party? Because I mean the Republican Party is, certainly taking on, it's become more and more obvious that they are pathologically unable to help people in need.
Correct.
And I mean, I can go on about how terrible the Republican Party is representing itself right now. But then the Democratic Party is all about the status quo. Like that's why I wasn't, I'm super excited Youngkin's not our governor anymore.
Yeah.
I'm super excited that that there's Democratic control of all three.
Agreed.
Parts of the Virginia government right now. But I wasn't excited as I would be because I know that Spanberger's a centrist status quo candidate.
You got it. You could see that shit on Meet the Press on Sunday. Because the second she won her election, she's out there being the status quo centrist that she is.
She's going to post, I'm happy that the Supreme Court didn't reverse, same-sex marriage because I support everybody being able to love who they love. Do I think she's going to roll back model school policies that stop the forced outing of trans students in our schools and things like that? I have some very strong doubts that she's willing to rock the boat that much.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I was just talking about that to see just yesterday, wondering what she'll do with model policies. Yeah, and she made a comment on Meet the Press about her win. Does that mean that, the Democrats should stand firm on the shutdown? And she said, absolutely not. So it sounds to me like she supported the decision of the Democrats to fold on the shutdown. And I mean, certainly it really works well for her because the thing is that Tim Kaine was the yes. So let's talk about the shutdown. So Tim Kaine was the yes, one of the yes votes, right? And it has I am very amused watching the level of blowback that's happening right now, because normally when this kind of shit happens, you get the people that are super politically involved that know what's going on, and they're mad and all the things, right? But like, I'm seeing people talking about
that's this, all like over.
They don't follow politics a lot, but they've become more aware of what's going on. And holy shit, is Tim I saw normally Tim Kaine is so well-mannered and very together when he's talking to, the pundits, right? And I just watched this morning a full-on fucking crash out. Like he, I can't remember the girl's name, but she's on, it's not Katie Turry or whatever. It's, anyway, it's it was like a MSNBC, I think, commentator, and was asking him about him, signing off on that. And he was like, he was crashing out. He was literally, I've never seen him in an interview like that, where he was like interrupting, talking over, and like fully triggered and animated about it. And so the thing is that we all know that obviously Warner was a no, because Warner's up for re-election this year. My position on that is fucking primary him, punish him for his friend. That's how I look at it. Collective fucking punishment. Warner needs to be primaried. Tim Kaine, we just got him elected in 2024. That's why he was safe to vote to end the shutdown. And then he's not up until 2030. Well, guess what? Abigail, she'll be ending her governor term in 2029. And she's going to slide right into that Senate seat, because Tim, in my opinion, should not run again because of age. And certainly by 2030, based on demographics in the country, these older people are absolutely not. 4 years from now, these older people are not going to be able to run for these seats again when they've been sitting in these seats for a really long time, because this upcoming generation and the millennials we're not going to fucking have it. I mean, I'm a Gen Xer. Yeah. I live in a fairy tale land that I'm like kind of a millennial, but I'm not. I'm a Gen Xer. So, but they're just not going to tolerate it.
No, I mean, it's becoming more and more obvious that, neither one of these parties have the best interests overall.
They don't. It's Democrats and Republicans. I mean, is it harm reduction, in my opinion, based on values and beliefs, to vote for Democrats? It is, but we need. But I would prefer that everyone is stripped out of any political parties,
because it always feels like you're picking who you want to struggle against.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's exactly it. Who out of these two people, who is the person that I would most prefer to be in a fight with?
Right. Yeah. And I think what people don't realize is like the political machine is so it's so like wanting ranked choice voting, for example, at a federal and state level. The people that will fight against that are the consultants, the machine, the parties, the state parties, because it takes, like ranked choice voting, for example, it takes some of that control out of this. And the parties have, Republicans and Democrats, they have the control of the people, and they're not really doing what's in the best interest of the people.
No, it's as much an industry and
American
corporate
Airlines
machine
pack.
as
American
American Airlines
pack
yeah,
is one of Tim Kaine's donors. And what has happened? We had a 10% flight reduction, like reduction in flights. They said don't touch the major hubs, but essentially places like Norfolk, for example, like my friend flew back from Mexico. She was in Mexico for like 10 days and her flight to Norfolk was canceled because it was in that 10% reduction. So she had to fly to Richmond and her boyfriend had to drive to Richmond to fucking pick her up, or she could have spent like $200 on an Uber or whatever. So, it's the airlines we started to see. I mean, it's dangerous. I was just a couple of days before the shutdown, I was reading about how some of these airliners, the commercial airliners, were flying at 8,000 feet. I jumped out of a plane at 13,500 feet. These commercial airliners between, say, Norfolk and Charlotte are flying at 8,000 because there's the IVR and then the V. It's like visual or instrument driven, like how you fly the plane. Well, you can fly the plane via instruments at higher level altitude because you much more space, like less whatever. When you fly at visual, you have to fly at a certain level because you're literally flying,
trying to look for.
You're literally look for fucking shit. And so but this is the thing: fuel consumption
is much higher
at 8,000 versus 35,000. So it's not cost effective for these airlines to be doing this. And then you've got the fatigue for the controllers, the air traffic controllers, which is literally the most like hazard job. I mean, it's the most stressful, not hazard, but the most stressful job, I should say, of all jobs. Literally, air traffic is the most stressful job. So, I mean, I see the pressure points. I have an employee that, it's his part-time job working for us, and he's worked for us for a decade, and he's been furloughed, and I see the toll that is taken on his family too. And so like I was mad about the buckling, but I also I understand.
Well, I mean,
the impact.
Let's just verbalize what happened here is because the two different parties couldn't agree on the budget, right? The Democrats insisted that we fund the ACA tax subsidies, which is what makes healthcare affordable for tens of millions of Americans.
And we can talk about that.
We can totally.
I do want to talk about that because I met with my insurance broker from business today. So it applies.
So it wasn't. It was a good reason to be refusing to vote for that budget.
Agreed. Specifically because they took the subsidies out and kept subsidies for the wealthy.
Yes.
That's the issue.
Yeah, they
fucked over American people who need to use Marketplace to be insured in order for wealthy people who can afford the best healthcare in the world. And their tax breaks.
And instead of Republicans being like, okay, let's do that. We can open up the government. We'll extend those subsidies for another year, which would, if you don't like ACA or all of those different things,
here's a new plan
that at least gives you time.
Or gives them time to produce for a decade.
To do something else. Hey, this gives everybody time to do something else without making healthcare unaffordable for tens of millions of Americans, without removing medical care from people, because that's what it is. In America, even if you have healthcare, even if you can afford healthcare, many of us are still having to choose between bills and going to see the doctor because there's copays, and healthcare only is going to cover 80% or all of those different things. And so it's, even with healthcare coverage, it's not like we just then get to go to the doctor for free. No, it just means we don't have to pay. We don't have to actually pay so much that it would probably put us in debt for the rest of our lives.
Correct.
We just have to pay a lot. That's the difference. Is it goes from unachievable to still paying a lot. That's what health insurance in America is. And so, but we're even taking that away from people. Instead of Republicans going, hey, you know what? That makes sense because we're always talking common sense. Hey, that makes sense. Let's extend it a year so people could still afford healthcare while we figure out what we're going to replace it with, because we clearly have not presented anything to replace it with.
And they've had a decade.
they've
Trump was elected literally 9 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
They've had a fucking decade, and you haven't presented us with anything.
And I get it. We're going to agree and disagree. Not everybody's going to have the same opinion, but at least have
something to disagree with.
An alternative.
Yeah.
At least have an alternative. But instead of just doing that and getting the government up and running, because it would have been just that easy. Nope.
Yeah.
No, we're willing to just let it shut down.
And then
we're so willing to take this healthcare from people that we will let it shut down, let lots of other people go without pay
and food
and food. And let's talk about that. So the real headline should have been President of the United States forces Congress to take healthcare from tens of millions of people by threatening to starve tens of millions of American children, elderly, and disabled. Because
that's what the headline should be.
That's what the headline should be. Well, and not that's what happened.
Well, right. And also, like, no, I mean, so young, I give people flowers when they do something good. I'll give Youngkin flowers.
State of emergency.
Youngkin said state of emergency. We have a $3 billion surplus or whatever that number is right now. And we're going to take care of Virginians for SNAP benefits, right? And then the president literally sends out, he has the fucking USDA send out a thing to say, reverse it.
Yeah.
How did that conversation?
Not only was he willing to, he fought.
He fought
in courts. He did everything he could to make sure that he could take food from people.
He literally wanted SCOTUS to tell him to. He demanded SCOTUS.
Yeah. Tell them that I don't have to pay.
I don't have to pay it, right? And so a lot of people got really upset that Ketanji Brown Jackson authorized the stay to but like without understanding that actually was really smart on her part, because by doing that forces the government to say why they can't pay. And there's been some talk that the $750 million that was or million, it was million. There's $750 million that was set aside or something. Essentially, they took 400 million of it and sent it to something, and 350 million to sent it to something else. And essentially, the account was zero. So, I don't know. I'm sure they'll miraculously find the fucking money now that like they've reached a deal, because that's the way it is, right? But I just want to know what that conversation looks like between Youngkin and Trump. You know what I mean? Like how, because you're in the same party. Like how does that conversation look when the person that you've been supporting as president is like, hey, you shouldn't have done that. You need to reverse it. It just, all of it smells like awful. And it is so like, I hate the deplorable is the word.
The basket of deplorable.
The basket of deplorable. Like I'm just like, I don't understand. Like it does not to leverage children, elderly, and disabled people's food to get what you want for your wealthy friends. And then in the middle of it, pardoning all these people. He gave a pardon to the Al-Qaeda guy. He had him in the fucking Oval Office yesterday. Somebody from Al-Qaeda. Here, they're all these fucking Republicans are yapping about Mamdani. And then your president literally pardoned a fucking Al-Qaeda member yesterday. And house. It is absurd to me. Like, what is fucking wrong? Their brains are broken. Like they're like, I feel like, we talk politics, and I feel like I'm not, there's a lot of people that think I'm an extremist, but I don't really think I'm that fucking extreme. I just fucking don't. I mean, I do like my views on, as far as daily, right? I mean, I do believe in abolishing prisons. Like I believe in a lot of things that I think from a society, but I'm also very realistic about what we can have in our lifetime, right?
Yeah.
We should be working towards those things, but I understand that I'm not going to get those things in my lifetime, right? It's going to be a gradual, whatever. So, but like these people are so fucked up. like so fucked up, and pardoning all of the people that interfere. I mean, Jenna Ellis got a pardon yesterday or day to whatever, and then within last week, pardoned all of these people that were part of this 2020 election fraud with the fraudulent electors. Jenna Ellis is one of them. Rudy Giuliani.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna admitted guilt. Lost her, I believe she's one of the ones that lost her bar license. I know John Eastman got a pardon who lost his fucking bar license. Like Giuliani lost, these people lost their bar license to practice. What Trump just did, because he can't pardon them. They didn't have federal charges. They had state charges. So he can't pardon state charges. But I think he's trying to he's basically pushing he's trying to say like, it's going to be, they're pardoned. You can't, it's against the Constitution. You cannot pardon state.
And he's showing other people that go ahead and break the law.
Here it is.
Go ahead and do whatever you want for me. Do it in my name.
And I will pardon you.
And I'll pardon you. So I don't care how horrendous or illegal your actions were. If it benefits me, if you do it for me, I'll just wipe it away.
That is tyranny. Like that's a dictator. Like that is everything that America stands against. Like just that. But we're, the same people screaming 1776 are excusing that kind of behavior. And so this is why I can't take them seriously. Like I just can't take you seriously. There's a political consultant, that sad sack of shit with ill-fitting suits. I don't need to say his name. But he's a sad sack of shit and wears suits. And a lot of political people pay him for his advice, which is stunning. And he made this like really long post about what you get with Democrats. And it was like, talked about healthcare and education and it was like bullet pointed. And I could have responded with, whatever, like snarky bullshit. But I actually formulated a response addressing each one of those things, which was like Reagan is the reason for the student loans that we have today, because it's Reagan's policies that increased to college tuition, tripled college tuition, requiring us to get student loans. And then capitalism is what kept us in that cycle. And that was intentional. And then you have healthcare, right? I just kind of went through and with facts about certain laws that, affordability, housing affordability, we didn't repeal the Frank Dodd Act, but we deregulated, and there were things passed in 2018 by the Trump administration that essentially did a lot of deregulation under the Frank Dodd Act, which was protecting us in housing. Well, now here we have, he responds, and I'm like, he says something like, way to blame, it was like one sentence, way to blame the healthcare providers, kook. You're a political consultant. And I did open my comment with, either you are very uneducated of the history of this country in the last 50 years, or you rely on your followers who are uneducated on the last 50 years and will believe your false narrative. And then I went into all the facts disputing what he was saying. And all he could say to me was, way to go after healthcare providers, kook. And I'm like, this is where we are.
Yeah, there's not like really a reality attached to it, because they want to win.
Yeah, it's just about winning. It's just football teams.
That's it. It's just about winning.
Yeah.
And it's
the PFL, the Political Football League.
Yeah, and it's that mindset too, right? Where when the goal is to win, who cares if somebody's hurt on the other team? That just increases your chances of winning. If you can cheat and get away with it, who cares? What's important is that you win. And also the morals go away. Morals go away because it's all
Yeah.
It's just whatever it takes to win. And you even hear that in the language.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like really frustrating because, you know, I still, you know, I'm glad I took the time to type out the comment and, you know, because I know people will read it.
Yeah. Other people will read it.
And of course I've had, other than him, there have been no other reactions. And I always take that as a compliment because if you're not, obviously none of his followers are going to like my comments, right? But they're also not engaging because they can't. Because if you Googled anything that I said and actually read, you would know that I'm speaking the truth. But it feels better for them to not agree with somebody like me and stay in their little bubble, right? Some interesting stuff. So because I was managing Kat's campaign, I'll shift a little bit to something I noticed with how subtle the racism and Islamophobia was in Virginia Beach with the ticket. Abigail, of course, took the most votes in every precinct in our House district. Because I can see, you know what I mean? I can see that everybody can see it if you go on Department of Elections, but you can compare. And I did a spreadsheet and I compared like where Kat got votes, like, you know, how many votes she got for the precinct, how many votes Abigail. So Abigail beat Kat in every single precinct, got more votes than Kat. So you have drop off because there's people that don't vote beyond the top of the ticket, right? They don't vote for state delegates and stuff like that. And then you have crossover votes, right? So you got the Republican crossovers. And so Kat she got Republican crossover, but not as much as Abigail got. But then when you look at Hashmi and Reed and you compare how many votes Hashmi got, and then you look at the seer, like Reed almost, if not did beat Hashmi in the precincts. Or I'm sorry, not Hashmi, Sears. So like Republicans were crossing over. They wouldn't vote for a black woman. They voted for the white woman. But then when you get into the Hashmi race, you can see the kind of crossover there where the voters voted not for Hashmi, but there was more crossover. They're like, I'm not, this is a white man, so I'm going to vote. I'm only crossing over on governor.
Yeah.
Right. But then you also just see, they're the centrist or the ones that I think, like, I feel pretty strongly like there were some crossovers to Reed because of Hashmi. And so you can just see it. And I just always find that interesting. I always want to look at that and like kind of see where those lines get drawn, like, and how you see that crossover. And it's just pretty obvious. Like you can see where they're like, well, and I've said this from the beginning. I always knew Abigail was going to win because we are still too racist in this country, but specifically in this state, to vote for a black woman. I mean, not Democrats typically, but some Democrats, right? They will vote for a white Democrat before they vote for a black woman that's a Republican for the top. Because think about it, the governor is the president of the state. He ain't electing a black woman. The president, Harris, they're not doing it. Now, I do have suspicions about that race, but anyways, that's a story for another day. But anyways, the data was just really interesting to kind of see like how Abigail just fucking like she flipped a few precincts that were Republican precincts. Like, I mean, Republicans were straight up like, I'm voting for this bitch. Yeah. Not the other one. I'm voting for her. So anyways, but yeah, the shutdown, we are now apparently the House is going to go back into session.
Go back to session and vote, and then that should end it until January.
And that'll end it till January. Now, the good thing is that Johnson has to call them back and has already basically told them to get back to DC.
And basically has to.
And now he's going to put in Gravalia. He's got to swear in Arizona, which means that's the last signature they need for the discharge to release the Epstein files.
That don't exist.
Right. Which is also why you're starting to hear more grumblings. I don't know if you've seen this on the internet, more grumblings about what's actually that the security level on these files has not been great.
Mm-hmm.
And that there are people who have seen these files and have said they're preparing for these to come out. And apparently some of the stuff, I'm literally like, are we talking like, do y'all have evidence of snuff films, cannibalism? Like what because apparently it's really bad, which I've known that's going to be bad, but like apparently it's really bad. Really bad. So it's going to get real interesting because I have a feeling that if it is that bad and these do get released, essentially JD Vance will be president by January.
Which remains to be seen if that's much better.
Right. I mean, oh no, it's not better at all.
Turning
actually.
point.
No, it's not better at all. Oh, don't get me started about Erica Kirk and JD Vance. I don't even want to talk about it. But man, what a grieving widow.
Yeah.
That grief process is yeah. So anyways, and I mean just the hand on the neck when she hugged him. Like most of our what is it? 87% or whatever body language or 90% somewhere. It's like it's a high 80s, if not or like low 90s.
Communication
is body language. And I'm like, I don't hug you. Like, have I ever touched your neck when I hugged you? No, Cody. Literally, like, no. And so, yeah. Anyways, that'll be very interesting. I just want to remind people that Virginia has elections every year.
Yep. And also next year is the midterms.
Next year is the midterms. Do we want to talk about it?
All we really need to say is we need to get back as much control of the legislator in our country as we can, because the courts aren't really standing in the way.
No.
And the legislative branch is doing what Trump tells them to.
Well, they're I mean, we don't have one. Congress has not been in session since September 19th. Like they're literally not working. They're not doing anything. The 119th Congress is going to probably go down is the most ineffective, worst Congress of any.
Well, I mean, that's their goal now is to do nothing while Trump does what he wants.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So that they can get total control. I mean, that the end goal is essentially handicap. He's trying to consolidate because they want the Unitarian branch. They just want like they just basically want one branch of government.
The executive branch.
They just want the executive branch.
And that's exactly, you can almost even see it in Johnson's posture, like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no. And he's the little patsy that is going to do whatever Trump wants. So until such time that he can't, and I don't know.
I mean, it's gotten so bad that Marjorie Taylor Greene has effectively defected at this point, which is, I mean, I never thought I'd see a day.
Never. And
that I was like,
do you want me to fucking start on 50-year mortgage? When I saw her post about 50-year mortgages, I was like, yes, you do have some brains in your head. You got a few wrinkles in that brain. I was in the mortgage industry for 14 years. I was very impacted by 2008. I was in wholesale. I worked for Wall Street. And so therefore I was actually affected in 2006. So just like anything in wholesale retail, it makes it to the market like by the time the public knew some shit was going down, we were already, those of us that were working on Wall Street, like we had already been in it for like 18 months because that's just the way it is you in that market. Right. So I was greatly affected by that. The fact that he's like, we'll just do 50-year mortgages to make housing more affordable. I mean, what? My voice goes up several decibels when I talk about this. It's
another way to siphon money up to the rich.
And they're the builders.
Wrapped in a...
Yeah, builders, bankers, wealthy corporations. Like, what are you fucking talking about? It literally, you add 20 years to a fucking mortgage. First of all, you'll have to be 25. You wouldn't even be able to probably give those loans for anybody over the age of 30.
Yeah.
Right?
You're more likely to die than you are to finish paying off the loan.
Fucking loan, right? And so, and you're literally going to pay double the interest.
Yeah, they're going to
literally double the interest.
They're going to get way more money for the house than what it was worth. You're probably going to die before you pay it off, at which point, no matter how much of it you've had paid off, they'll just take it back and resell it and run that same road on the next person.
Yeah, who told him that was good? Did he just decide it and just say it, and then everybody's like, oh fuck,
just
what?
Like
or
everybody's going to get a $2,000 tariff dividend.
Didn't he say a couple months ago we were going to get $5,000? I'm almost certain that 6 months ago he said we were going to get a check for $5,000. Now it's $2,000, and
nobody's going to get it.
You can spend that on whatever you want. Okay, so $2,000 for some people's insurance increases. So let's talk about that. I met with my insurance broker today because we renew in January our health insurance for our business and our group policy. So I had gotten the email from Centera about the proposed premium changes, and it's a little bit more than $12,000 increase if I kept everything the same with our health insurance, our group plan. It is, they gave me a breakdown of percentage, and it was a 19.7% premium increase. 19.7% premium increase. So I have to make decisions. And I talked to my insurance broker today about it. Like, he gave me, some options, but all of those options, it's either eat the 20% increase and just pay it to keep your plans the way they are, or save a little bit of money, just a little bit, and change to different plans where our deductibles are higher, our copays are higher, our percentage out of pocket is higher.
The insurance costs less, but the medical care costs more.
That's correct. Yeah. And so these are the decisions that we are being forced to make. And that's group plans. That's not talking about the impact of marketplace for individuals who have coverage. And
let's also be clear too. A lot of the people that are in marketplace, getting marketplace plans, whose premiums are going to go way up. A lot of those people are already people that are financially insecure.
That is correct.
That's why they're in the marketplace getting marketplace plans, is because they don't have it through a work or a group program. They don't have access to medical care anywhere else. And they're usually lower income people. And so, like everything else that it seems, every other decision it seems our government is making, the people that it's going to impact the most are the people that have the least ability to deal with that impact, and the people that it's going to benefit the most are the people that need that benefit the least.
That is correct. That's exactly right. And so,
I mean, the whole way society works, we have flipped it on its head here in America. We've flipped around the way society works. The corporations and the government are supposed to be benefiting the people as a whole. And instead, they only benefit this small elite class. And somehow we've convinced a whole bunch of people, many of whom just had their food stamps cut off.
It's like 67% of people on SNAP are red states.
Many of whom your president just tried to starve you, in case you didn't notice that. Many of whom are going to lose access to affordable health care and medical care. And so, by the way, you were just held hostage. The whole decision was about whether or not they were going to steal your food or steal your medical care.
That's right.
And somehow they've still managed to convince all of you that this is good for you.
Yep. But and what's also it's not just convince them that it's good for you, but like so many of the people at least that I hear that have these political opinions, right?
Self-harm at this point.
Right. But they don't it clearly doesn't impact them in any way because they have insurance through their employer, or they are very wealthy and just pay for their own. I mean,
yeah, you're right. And I wish we would stop doing that. Mm-hmm. Stop electing rich people as our representatives. Mm-hmm. We just need to stop. I know that you get all googly eyed when they say they were a doctor, or they made a lot of money, or they did this or that. Oh, they must be really smart and have made so many good decisions. Stop electing people that have no idea what it's like to really live in America.
That's right. Yeah.
Stop, because the decisions they make are
well, yeah, but we talked about this.
They're never hurt by them. They are never hurt by the decisions that they make.
Right. But the problem is that politics or political positions, they are designed for the wealthy to hold them. We talked about this, like the whole entire system is designed to not to have people who are retired or independently wealthy. It's not designed for the working class. The political system in our country was not designed so that you and I, except for local is the closest you're ever going to get to getting someone elected that is just a normal fucking person.
It's just like what W.E.D. Du Bois talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't quote it right, but basically the poverty is intentional.
The poverty is intentional.
The poverty is intentional because if you weren't living in poverty, you wouldn't be motivated to just give your lives to the rich.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
The poverty is intentional. Stop expecting them to change it because it benefits them. It's on purpose.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And so it's meant, and that's, again, you can get to local. It's like, that's going to be the closest thing that you can get to having like normal people. Because if you're like if you're pissed off about the shutdown, you're like, oh, fucking primary Warner, right? Well, Cody, you can't do that. Like, you'd be an amazing senator. I think you'd be an amazing senator, right?
But I can't primary Warren and still go to work and feed my family.
That's right. You can't feed your family, right? And so, and it's designed to be that way. And I met with which kind of talking about elections. So in 2026 in Virginia Beach, from a local perspective, we have districts 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10 that are up for re-election. We already have all of our school board candidates. We've had all of our school board candidates prepared for 2026 for about 5 to 6 months, with the exception of like 2 seats. I locked in one of them yesterday for sure. And she's amazing. But one of her concerns was, she's like, I mean, this is me, like leggings, black t-shirt. Like, I'm not fancy. I'm not, and I'm like, I don't want you to be any of those things. Like, I don't want you to look like a politician. I truly believe that the best candidates are the people that don't pretend to be something they're fucking not. And her qualifications are amazing. Her, literally, she's ideal in experience and qualifications to be on the school board. And so, we are planning on flipping the school board in 2026 to an 8-3 school board. And I say 8-3 because District 2 is likely going to be held by or kept by Republican. Kim Melnick is never, I don't think, going to get reelected in District 2. And the Republicans will not be dumb enough to have 2 people running against Kim Melnick if she were to run again. And if it was between Kim and one other person, Kim's not winning in that district. And then we have the 2 seats, Mark Bowensteel and fucking Rose Dwyer. That lady is so fucking stupid. I can't, like, last night I was literally yelling at my TV at her watching the school board meeting. And the public is literally like, how did that happen? And that's because Vicki Manning, she literally just recruited warm bodies, none of which give a shit about being on the fucking school board.
No, the dumber the better, because the more likely to they'll just suck up the propaganda and not understand anything that's going on and just vote the way they're told. Boom.
And so, but what Vicki Manning failed to see is that the public is seeing that, and they're seeing how unintelligent these people are. And so it's going to be easy,
what's
in my
starting to
opinion,
happen
to
is
unseat
you're
them.
having fear and stress fatigue, right? Because that's how, especially at the school board, a lot of these things got started, right? COVID came in and they were able to take a whole well of fear because people were dying everywhere and put it on a couple things like having to wear masks and all of that.
And then the trans kids were the boogeyman after that.
And then once that started away, they just needed another boogeyman because they had this giant well of fear.
They had a groundswell.
Yeah, they had exactly.
There's a groundswell during that time.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. You have this giant well of fear and emotion and anger and uncertainty by a generational travesty. Honestly, once every 4 generational travesty, you know what I mean? Truly.
Yeah.
And they were able to weaponize that and get people to eat anything,
right?
Honestly,
literally,
to eat anything.
Ivermectin.
To eat anything. And regurgitate it right back up, but that's starting to go away.
Oh, listen. So in 2022, Moms of Liberty, Moms Against Literacy is what I like to call them. They had that groundswell in 2022. It affected us. We lost the, school board that we basically had a majority of fucking morons take over in 2022. And then, but
they didn't win a single election this last.
So 2024, it was 5 out of 500 seats, or it was 2023. I think it was 2023. There was like 500 Moms of Liberty candidates, and they only won 40 seats. And that's when I was like, I'm telling you, this isn't this is not lasting. The impacts of what these school board members have done, though, are lasting.
Yeah, they're going to last.
Those are lasting, which is what's a fucking shame. However, these people are not lasting. And you see that in the results. And then this election cycle, they won 0 fucking seats. People are they just want normal fucking people.
Yeah, because when people have all that emotion, it's like being in a fight.
Yeah.
Right, your emotion goes up, and all of a sudden everything is just this haze. You do whatever in a fight, but when that emotion's not there, there's no just urge to hurt somebody or to do all of those things. It makes 0 sense. And that's what's starting to happen now. Is that overwhelming fear that's been stoked and fed is finally starting to wear off, and the actions that are happening, the attacks and the hurting people. And all of that it doesn't make sense anymore. People are finally looking at it with, without that emotion and going, wait, why are we still doing this crazy shit?
That's exactly right. And so I am very confident that we'll be an 8-3 board next year, because we were stuck with Mark and Rose. And then we're probably not going to win District 2, but I absolutely anticipate taking every other seat. And I am going to be working really hard for the school board elections in next year to make sure that we basically just get some fucking normalcy back, and of course we have a congressional race, we're not going to talk about it right now, but
we're going to wait 1 week to talk about that race, because I feel like in 1 week,
we're going to wait a week. I really want people to think for themselves. There was several really good, solid, serious congressional candidates that had announced they were making a run for it. And then the whole thing with the Texas and California redistricting, then Virginia with our trifecta, our House and Senate passed a redistricting, right? And essentially, if they redistrict the congressional seat in response to Trump doing this in Texas,
it'll make certain seats more competitive democratically, and then that'll change the playing field.
That's right. So with the news of our General Assembly doing that, voting on that and approving it, a former elected congresswoman decided after this win, and she saw that the Democrats took the ticket, that she wants to get in the race after all these other people have done the work and have, we're fundraising and doing all this stuff. And that's fine. I mean, it's her right to do so. Jump back in the race, but don't think I ain't gonna be on your fucking neck the whole time. Because one, I'm not supporting Gloria, and we will talk about that next week. And the why. And I'm just, it really has rubbed me the wrong way that she has just popped up like a fucking like groundhog out of nowhere and is now, and so many people are capitulating. We already have a good candidate that was running has already dropped out of the race because she was coming. He basically essentially the political bullying. So the candidate that I am supporting is the response was battle stations. So I want to get behind a candidate who's got fucking fire in their belly and not a mousy, disconnected woman. And listen, I'm sure she's a nice lady. Like I've met her several times and she's nice. And I voted for her. And she's a centrist. And I still voted for her. I donated money to her campaign. And now I'm like, your time is done. Like, to me, this is like a McAuliffe type thing. It's like, your time is done. Yeah. Like, you're done.
And I think we also just, as a society, need to move away from the career politician.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely.
That's such a
right. And so anyways, we can talk more about that. But I just, some people are surprised that I'm so passionate about this. And I'm like, I don't know why do you know me? Have you met me? And it's not personal. And that's what I've been telling Democrats who are like, why are you? And I'm like, it's not personal. It's not. It's politics. She disappeared. Those of us putting in the work, we've noticed. And so we're going to have...
And this isn't a popularity contest. It is.
Well, it is.
It is, but it should not be a popularity contest. It should be about achieving, specific goals and moving our country forward and not staying in the same place, not about compromise and just keeping everything status quo, all of those different things. And that's why I hate the career politicians. It should be, So, it should not be about just getting in there and keeping everything the same.
That's right. Yeah. So we have Mark Warner up for re-election. We have the for us CD2, all of our congressional districts up for re-election. And then we have our city council and our school board races. So my focus will clearly be school board because, man, fuck all that federal stuff. Like there's so much money in it. It's just a big political machine. And like where I find that, where I can make a difference is truly at a local level. And until we start getting more involved and like know who your council person is, know who your school board person is, until we start putting the people in these seats that are great people that make good policy that could then go to a next level, elected position, that's where we have to start.
Yeah,
that's where the
people
change happens.
that are being proactive, not just awaiting further instruction from. I'm just waiting to see what the state's going to pass, and then we'll go ahead and fall in line with that. Or I'm just waiting to see.
I'm just waiting to be told how to vote.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see what this,
Right.
People that are actually going to proactively go out and try and change things for the better. They're going to identify things that need to be changed. And if they need to be asking state or federal, electeds to make it possible for them to change those things or doing all of that. Right now, so many local elected officials, they get elected and they sit there and wait for the state legislative or whatever to pass whatever laws they're going to do and then adjust their local, policies accordingly and move on about life. And they don't really, it's the status quo way of governing needs to be left behind.
Yeah, exactly. So I just, so 2026, I mean, there is no rest. There's no rest in Virginia because we have elections every fucking year. Like can I express that anymore? How exhausting it is to be a Virginian who is involved in politics. There's just, I feel like there's just so much to talk about, but I think we kind of summarize this post-election debrief.
There'll be other podcasts and more events.
Yeah.
Guaranteed in the current environment.
I know. Other than that, I have no plans for travel. right now because it's such a shit show to fly anywhere.
Don't make any plans for travel.
If you, I mean, if you can drive there, like
it seems that the intent is still to have made this whole scenario as painful and long lasting as possible for the American people. Trump's still in court trying to get the Supreme Court to say that he doesn't have to pay the rest of SNAP benefits, even though the government's opening back up. I mean, it's just, it's sadistic.
Yeah, it is sadistic. Yeah. So on that note, thank you for being here.
And we'll see you.
That's it for this week's dose of national dysfunction.
If you learned something, got pissed off, or just laughed through the rage, do us a favor. Share this episode with someone who still believes that it can't happen here.
Follow us, subscribe, and hit us up on socials, because if you aren't at the table, you are on the menu. This is the Dissent Agenda. Stay informed, stay loud, and stay in the fight.